know when it's safe to start circling back to a formerly red-hot group that's gotten very, very cold. And that's the question I keep asking myself about the marijuana stocks. After a phenomenal bull run driven by Canada's move to legalize weed, the whole cannabis cohort peaked earlier this year. And since then, it's been kind of a, let's say, an unbearable house of pain. Last year, the pot stocks were judged based on their grand plans for the future. But now that the market's sobered up, investors are more focused on the cold, hard numbers. Yet even the highest quality marijuana names like Cronos Group, Canopy Group, Canopy Growth, they have been hammered. Take Cronos. It's a vertically integrated cannabis producer with medical marijuana licenses all over the world and a rapidly growing recreational business in the places where it's legal. Thanks to a $1.8 billion investment from Altria, Cronos has a massive war chest, second only to Canopy's, which means they're in a great position to take market share. And the company's latest quarter was good as robust top and bottom line beat, but it's profit. But at the end of the day, this is still a super expensive stock that's in the early stages of the growth story, which is why I think it keeps falling like the rest of the group, down from 25 in March to just under 11 today. So let's take a closer look with Mike Gorenstein. He's the chairman, president, and CEO of Cronos Group to get a better read on what lies ahead for the company, specifically for the cannabis industry and for his company, of course. Michael, good to see you, sir.
Hey.
How are you? Have a seat.
Great.
All right, so your first time on, give me a state of the state here because, look, you've got the best brand name. This is the most recognizable brand name. You've got a secular tailwind. At the same time, there's vaping. At the same time, there seems to be a lot too much hot money got in the stocks. Give me your overarching formula, and then we can get a sense of where you're going.
Sure. So Cronos, we're differentiated. We are category agnostic, but cannabinoid specific.
Okay.
And while most companies really historically have been focusing on supply, we focus on innovation and the consumer. And so when we think of supply chain, we really look at partnering with experts, other farmers to source ingredients, but then we can make products like these that really differentiate with the consumer.
So this is an asset-light situation. You're not trying to grow as much pot as possible.
That's right. We follow the same model that's made companies in the consumer packaged goods industries successful and pharmaceuticals, focusing really on IP and brands.
Okay, now you also made a commitment to vaping. I don't know. I mean, vaping was around for ages, and then suddenly I think the Juul guys have made it so that vaping's become controversial. Where do you think we're going with that?
Well, I think that there's certainly differences between the nicotine vaping space and the cannabis vaping space. So we're looking at when we segment the consumer need state, we're looking at specific occasions, and we're looking at upcoming launch in Canada. What we've been doing over the last few months is really leveraging work for about 6 years. It's been done in Israel with Cronos Device Labs, and actually focusing on safety, quality, what the ingredients are. Our brand will launch under first is spinach, which we picked the name because we want to make sure it was. We're being very responsible and not attractive to children. Kids don't like spinach.
But have vape sales been affected in the last few weeks?
So Canada, we actually we're waiting for the derivative product launch. So we actually haven't been able to start sales. So,
all right. So give me, you've got a terrific guy who's a consumer packaged goods guy as your chief innovative officer. Is he behind? I know Lord Jones' established brand, but is he behind the strategy of making it so that you're disrupting a $250 billion consumer packaged good business?
He helps us with innovation.
Was Mondelez last week? He's been in some great places, fella.
Mondelez, Pillsbury.
Yeah.
And one of the things he's been great at launching products like Belvita is focusing on functional benefits. And when you look at really what the brand equity is built off of, why people want to see these new brands, it's the functional benefits you can get from cannabinoids.
Right.
And so having actual functional uses, building that into the products, that's what's ultimately going to differentiate.
Well, how has this become the only brand name that anybody knows? I'm not kidding. There's lots of different companies. This is the only brand in the industry.
Well, that's why it was attractive to us. There's a lot of CBD companies.
Yes.
There's very few CBD brands, and it just comes down to where you're focusing in the value chain. And one of the things that we loved was, these aren't products, and try some. This is not what you're thinking of when you think of CBD. People think of how much hemp are you growing or how are you extracting it. So here.
No, this is what people use instead of Icy Hot.
Yeah.
Right. And I found that because I am the spokesman for the American Migraine Foundation, I have to tell you, this is what you do if you have a migraine. This is exactly what they tell you to do. There was nothing to do before that. I'm not kidding. This is what you do. And there's 30 million people who will use this once people realize that it's the only thing that does work. Now, let me ask you while I have this in my hand.
Well, I think that's right. That the product.
No, I'm not kidding. I'm not kidding. Look, I'm the spokesperson, and it is the only thing that works. We all know it, but we're all afraid to talk about it. Even though they're using it, it's no THC. There's no issue. It's legal. but people are still afraid. Now, let me ask you, Bank of America Merrill Lynch talked about this acquisition and said that you had you and another director had an interest in a company called Gotham Green Partners, which had an interest in Redwood Holdings. Now, how do you know that that's an even deal for Cronos versus this company if you have a stake in it?
Sure. So Gotham Green's, it's now the largest cannabis venture fund. It's a fund that one of the other directors and I, Jason Adler, started.
Okay.
And as we disclosed, we went through everything by the book. So we actually created a independent special committee of directors who led the negotiations, diligence, and made the decision. So
they didn't want stock though, because I know you gave them cash. I would have taken stock in Cronos.
There's some stock given. We're pretty focused on dilution. We especially with the levels we look at. We wanted enough that we can incentivize the founder. It's an amazing team, and we want them to be in the same vested position. But one of the advantages we have is that our currency is primarily cash, and being able to use that currency.
Well, speaking of cash, how's Altria? Are they happy? They're good advisors because they've been through every single war. I mean, you talk about this being controversial. It's not. What they do is. How are they helpful?
Oh, they're extremely helpful.
Yeah.
We're a young company that's focused on innovation, focused on brands, and what we're trying to do is take a industry with a regulated crop, certainly controversial, and turn that into a global industry. And when we met with Altria, what we saw is this is the company that for over 100 years has also taken a regulated crop, and they've become a manufacturing, distribution, and brand powerhouse. And being able to take our inputs, our IP, and plug that into that machine is really exciting.
Well, Mike, I got to congratulate you as I get my stuff off. You've done a terrific job, and I know that the whole industry's been hurting, but that doesn't mean that there won't be a comeback someday, and what will lead it are brands. And you do have the best. Thank you, Thank you so much. He's Chairman, President, CEO of Cronos. Look, every one of these stocks is down. I know a lot of you are upset that they're down, but you know these are speculative stocks. That's what you get when you speculate. Mad Money's back after the break. Booyah! Jim Cramer here from Mad Money. Thanks for watching CNBC on YouTube. Click here to subscribe and get the jump on my exclusives with CEOs, plus market news, investing advice, and a whole lot more.